podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. Come get your questions answered. We'll see you then. And remember, lawyer up. Hey everybody, this is the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast. I am your host, Steve Okoraha. Thank you for joining me on this second show. Where you been? Just joking. You know, we had our last show about 2 weeks ago. It was so nice we had to show it twice. So we're back to you with the second installment of the series on the Boss Up Houston Network. So what is this show about? We are going to give you some practical legal tips so that you can accomplish your everyday legal needs, give you some insight on avoiding some unnecessary legal battles, and we're going to have a little fun in the process, but at least you will walk away learning something. And that's really the main goal with this, is to have you well equipped to be out there and doing the things that you need done. So briefly, who I am. I'm an attorney that focuses, I practice mostly in Fort Bend and Harris counties, but I do practice all over the state of Texas in a variety of different modes. I primarily do family law, I do traffic tickets, I do estate planning, I do business and contracts with a little bit of personal injury and immigration. But I'm definitely your guy for everything that you need. So if you have any other outside legal questions outside of what I'm talking about, I can definitely get those answers for you. So what we are talking about today is a very interesting one, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about getting rid of those skeletons in your closet, those things that are keeping you from getting a job, from getting into that school that you really want to get into, or maybe attracting that potential mate that you really want. These are your things on your criminal record that you want to get taken off. You may have had some type of misfortune that has happened in the past. So I'm going to tell you ways that you can get rid of that. Hopefully. Not everything can be taken care of, but for the most part, I'm going to give you tips about doing an expunction. And I'm also going to give you tips about a non-disclosure. So you're saying, Steve, I know what an expunction is. I've never heard of a non-disclosure. But those two kind of go hand in hand. You're like, what's a non-disclosure? I'm going to tell you that. And think of it this way. If an expunction is basically destroying it, just throwing a bunch of explosives on it, pressing the button, and it explodes, and it doesn't exist anymore. A non-disclosure is like burying it 6 feet deep in the middle of a desert where only 6 to 10 people know about where it is. So it's a little bit different. Non-disclosures still exist, but it's just sealed. So that's the best way to think about an expunction versus a non-disclosure. So that's what we're talking about today. Got a lot of information for you. I'm going to try to take it a little bit slow because it can get kind of convoluted with the legal terms, but I'm going to try and put it in as simple terms as possible. That's why I'm here, and that's why we're doing this show. So when we come back from commercial break, I will get into how you start to clear your record. We'll be right back.
Devin, did you know Geico is now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies?
Okay.
That's 15% on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? DJ Khaled to be your motivational coach?
Yo, Devin, remember to brush in a circle motion.
Thank you, DJ Khaled.
Tiny circles, Devin. Do another one. Another one.
Is this good?
Put in that work, Devin. Don't give up.
Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th.
Welcome back, guys. We are back with the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast. I'm about to tell you how you can get things cleared off of your record. Now, I know you're saying, Steve, anything I do, you mean I can get it cleared off my record, I can get it expunged, and I can be free as a bird? No, that is incorrect. But there are certain conditions and certain things that you can get off your record. And then, of course, like I explained before, if you can't get it expunged, you may qualify for a non-disclosure, which is not as bad. So let me start off by giving you the instances where you can get an expunction. You can get an expunction in your case if charges were never filed and the statute of limitations is expired. Now, what is statute of limitations? I will get into that in a little bit. It's like a waiting period, but I will get back to that. You can get an expunction if charges were filed but then dismissed or quashed and the statute of limitations has expired. Also, if charges were filed but then dismissed or quashed because of one of the following issues. Because of a mistake or some type of false information, because it was void, or because you completed a pretrial intervention program. For all of these things, I mean, it varies for your particular case. So just so that I don't, kind of get long and into the weeds about everything, I would say contact your attorney just to make sure you know the differences between these things. So now I'm going to tell you what you cannot get an expunction for. You can't get an expunction if you were convicted of any offense from your arrest. So you actually got convicted. Like you didn't just go to jail and get it got thrown out for whatever reason. If you actually got convicted, you cannot get an expunction. There are charges currently pending against you from your arrests. So I know it seems, a bit on the surface that you would just think, okay, if I'm in the middle of it, I can't get it expunged. But yes, that's basically what it is. It's if it's currently pending, you can't get it expunged. If you want to expunge a crime for which you were acquitted and then you were convicted of a similar crime in the past, that's something you cannot get expunged. If you were placed on court-ordered probation for the arrest, unless you were charged with a Class C misdemeanor, that's something that you cannot get expunged. You were released on a conditional discharge under the Controlled Substances Act. You can't get an expunction for that as well. Or you jumped bail after your arrest. So if you posted bail and you had promised to appear for a hearing and you did not, then you cannot get that expunged. So just remember those things. Those are the things that kind of limit you from that. I will also go into, there's a few of those things that will fall between the cracks and let you qualify for a non-disclosure. But I will definitely get to that and let you know. So like I said before, you're asking, Steve, what is this whole statute of limitations thing? Or, hey, I know what a statute of limitations is. How do I know how long the statute of limitations applies to my case? Well, I'm going to tell you. There are different. It depends on the class of the misdemeanor, if it's a felony, or if charges were actually brought against you, certain different charges. But what I'm going to do is just keep it a little bit brief for everybody and give you just the basics into what it is. If there are other questions you have about it, feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email and let me know. I'll provide my contact information at the end of this podcast. So, if charges are brought against you, the statute of limitations needs to expire for all offenses. You can't just go to court, have the hearing, walk out of court, come to my office and say, hey, I got this case thrown out, Steve, I want to get an expunction. No. I'm going to tell you to go home, get some rest, wait, because there is usually a waiting period for every arrest that you have, unless it qualifies under those last three things of the reasons that I told you that you can get an expunction for, and that is because there was false information or a mistake, it was void, or you completed a pretrial intervention program. So if that happens, then you can get one a little bit quicker, and you don't have to wait the entire waiting period. And I know some of you are like, okay, Steve, well, those don't really apply to me. I have a different issue. Or maybe you didn't have charges brought against you. So if the arrest did not result in any charges, and you were very fortunate not to have any charges brought against you, for a Class C misdemeanor, which is going to be all of your traffic tickets, and that's probably the thing that most people want to get expunged from the record, that waiting period is 180 days. So that's 6 months. You have to wait. And after that, you can't do it a day sooner. It has to be 180 days and then after. And then that's when you can go ahead and file. For Class A and B misdemeanors, it's 1 year. So double the time frame for a Class C misdemeanor. And then for all felonies, 3 years. Felonies are a little bit more serious. They want to keep that on the record for a variety of different reasons. But if it's been 3 years, maybe they're not really as interested in doing things about that, or having that on your record for a myriad of reasons. So 3 years is the time frame for that. So just keep those in mind when you're trying to get an expunction. Like I said, we also have, I wouldn't say it's a catch-all, but it's another option that you have in non-disclosures, which I will get into right after this commercial break. So we will be right back.
Wanna be a boss? You're watching Boss Up Houston Network. It's Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Steve Okoraha again with your Lawyer Up with Steve podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. So I told you guys I would talk to you about exactly what a non-disclosure is. I know when I described it to you, remember, it's like burying it 6 feet deep. You're not destroying it like an expunction is. This is like the silver medal of an expunction. You're just burying it 6 feet deep. And you may say, well, hey, it still exists. It might be a problem. Not really. You can get a lot accomplished with a non-disclosure. So what is a non-disclosure? It seals part or all of your criminal record, depending on how extensive your criminal record is. It stops public entities, including courts, clerks of court, law enforcement agencies, and prosecutorial offices from sharing information about the sealed offense. So if you have a non-disclosure order for an offense, that means you don't have to put it on your job application, which is really the main reason a lot of people want to get an expunction is, well, hey, when they ask me that question about my past criminal history, I don't want to put it on there because it's going to limit me from getting a job. And that is a very valid concern. However, your offense may not fall within an expunction, but you can get a non-disclosure and you have the very same result. You don't have to put it on a job application. There are exceptions. There are certain state agencies which may still obtain this info. Again, just for time's sake, I'm going to ask that you contact your local attorney, or you can talk to me and I can actually give you those state agencies that will still be able to have access to those records. So if you can't get an expunction for the reasons that I talked about, you may qualify for a non-disclosure. Like I said, with the expunctions, there are certain things that you need. Non-disclosures is almost like everything that filters outside of getting an expunction. But what you cannot get a non-disclosure for is several different things. If you have been convicted or placed on deferred adjudication, what deferred adjudication is, very brief, is it's almost like a probation. In a traffic case, deferred adjudication means that you are given a certain time frame to not commit another crime, not commit another similar crime to the one that you committed. You usually pay a fine. They say you have to not get another, let's say speeding. You're not supposed to get another speeding ticket within 90 days or 120 days or 180 days. And then you come back, you show them your driving record, you say, hey, I've done it, I haven't got another ticket, then they go ahead and dismiss it. So it's different for different criminal issues, but deferred adjudication is, just think probation. If you've been convicted or placed on deferred adjudication for, number one, an offense requiring registration as a sex offender, you can't get a non-disclosure. Aggravated kidnapping, murder, capital murder, trafficking of persons, injury to a child, an elderly individual, or a disabled individual, abandoning or endangering a child, violation of court orders or conditions in a family violence, sexual assault or abuse case, stalking case, or a trafficking case. Any stalking cases, they will not let you get a non-disclosure, and any offense involving family violence. So, of course, you have to wait the required amount of waiting period, similar to an expunction, just like I had spoke about before. But as you can hear from some of these are really egregious crimes, or at least egregious in the eyes of the law. They do not want you to hide in plain sight, so to speak, and be able to walk around as if you never did these things. If you've done it, then they want you to have that on your record for all different types of purposes, especially registering as a sex offender. It's just one of those things that they are very harsh and they really bring the hammer down on you. So for these things, you can't get a non-disclosure, which means you can't get an expunction for either. All right. So that is the difference between an expunction and a non-disclosure. If you have any questions about a non-disclosure in terms of an expunction, let me know. They're handled a little bit differently, depending on which county you're in. Sometimes expunctions are handled in criminal court. Expunctions are handled in civil court. Non-disclosure is handled in criminal court, but there's a lot of back and forth. You either deal with the DA's office or the county attorney's office, but it really varies on whatever county you're in. So that's it for non-disclosure. So when we come back, I'm going to give you some practical tips about getting an expunction, and we will go into that in more detail. We'll be right back.
Breakfast at Auntie D's, take one. That's all it's gonna take.
Bringing daddies on the beat.
Wine, dime, killing time, heard it through the grapevine. You the type of you that like to get dime anytime. Wine, dime, killing time, heard it through the grapevine. You the type of you that like to get dime anytime. Wine, dime, killing time, heard it through the grapevine. You the type of you that like to get dime anytime. Gun, please sipper, Moet, Patron sipper. Do you the type of girl that like to pull down the zipper?
I like those shoes.
It's a fake appetizer. After this, I'm digging your thighs. Real debonair's eyes. Look in your eyes. You got a smirk upon your
Go sit down, baby. Go sit down.
And I'm impressed with your waist, petite shape of your thigh. Compliment you on your booty and your hair and your booty. Hey.
Here you go, baby.
Wine, dine, killing time. Heard it through the grapevine. And you the type of dude that like to get dine anytime. Comfort zone with you.
Cut.
Welcome back, everybody. I missed you guys. I know I have a little bit more to give you about expunctions. Hopefully you're learning something. I mean, that's the purpose of watching this podcast and listening to me talk, is that you're learning something about how you can accomplish a legal need that you have. So what I wanted to give you briefly was just some best practices for getting an expunction. And it'll be really brief. It's not, long and convoluted. I promise I won't speak legalese. Hopefully I haven't been speaking legalese. But if I am, you just go ahead and give me a call and let me know. I can answer those questions for you and say, what did you mean, Steve, when you said this? I'll tell you. I'll definitely tell you. So how to handle your case. When you file for an expunction, your hearing date will be at least 30 days from the date that you file. So you're like, Steve, no, I need it now. I need it quick. I just want them to go through, and let me just tell you, courts and the legal system don't handle anything quickly. And that's just from personal experience. Things usually take a little while. They're overloaded with a lot of cases. There's a lot of backlog in terms of the different types of legal matters you have. So minimum 30 days. So how do you do it? You have to fill out a petition and an order for expunction. Where do you find a petition and an order? Great question. Towards the end of this video, we are going to post a link within the chat that will have, it'll send you directly to an expunction kit, and it'll have step-by-step instructions for how to go ahead and accomplish what you need. So if you're thinking, hey, how do I get this petition in order? You definitely do that. If you want a more professional-looking version, come to me, and I can definitely draft one up for you. 2, sign the petition in front of a notary. Why do you have to get it notarized? It just makes it more certified that someone has attested to you wanting to get this expunction done. You're saying, well, someone else wants to expunge my records. Why do I need to sign it? Why do I need to get it notarized? Well, most petitions you file have to get notarized. It's like a sworn testimony, basically. Number 3, get an official record of your fingerprints. Notice I said official. Don't just go home with an ink blotter and, make your own set of fancy fingerprints and send it in and say you did it. No. There are different agencies that handle this. If you have gotten a passport before, you know that you need to go and get fingerprints done. A lot of other different things you need to get fingerprints done, so you need to do that as well. 4, file the petitions. The petition, the fingerprints, and the order in the district clerk's office in the same county that the offenses occurred. So if you had an arrest or something that you want to clear off your record, and it was in Fort Bend County, don't go to Harris County. If it was in Harris County, don't go to Montgomery County. If it was in Montgomery County, don't go to Brazoria County and think that it's going to work out seamlessly for you. Just do it in the same county. It just makes everything easier. 5, send a copy of the petition to the DA's or the county attorney's office. Now, different counties may do it a little bit differently. Most of the time, you're going to send it to the DA's office. With non-disclosures, you're going to send it to the county attorney's office, well, at least in Harris County. Let me not speak for all counties. But you will need to make sure they get a copy of the petition, because that is the agency that is going to check and see if you qualify for an expunction or non-disclosure. You may file it with the DA's office and they say you don't qualify for an expunction. However, you may qualify for a non-disclosure, so we kicked it over to the county attorney's office. So there's been instances where that has happened in past cases that I've done. And then number 6, most importantly, and you may say duh, but attend the hearing. Just go to the hearing. It's pretty straightforward. You'll get asked a few questions. They'll be back and forth. The judge will review the petition and then see if anything else needs to be done in order for them to grant the order of expunction. And like I said before, if you aren't able to get an expunction, you may qualify for a non-disclosure. Sometimes they may not even tell you that you qualify for a non-disclosure. They'll just go ahead and deny the expunction, but you want to make sure that you get the information as to why your expunction order was denied, and maybe you can just go back to the drawing board and say, okay, well, hey, I filed the wrong petition. It should have been a petition for non-disclosure, not a petition for expunction. So hopefully the tips that I gave you before can help you distinguish between the two and make it a lot simpler for you, so that you're very well prepared once you get to the district clerk's office. So those are your best practices. I'm hoping that you're learning something. I know you're learning something that you can at least tell someone that doesn't know if you know. So we're going to go to our last commercial break here, and I'm going to give you some little bit more tips and then give you some more information, and then we'll wrap up. So we'll be right back. lawyer today, I definitely think we can lawyer you up today. Tune into the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. Come get your questions answered. We'll see you then. And remember, Lawyer Up. Welcome back, everybody. You're here on the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast, and I'm gonna give you a little bit more tips, and then we're gonna have to wrap up. And I know you're having so much fun that you want me to talk for hours. I don't have time for all that, but I do have time to give you just a little bit more tips to help you do your expunction or non-disclosure. Remember, it's either or none of those, depending on what your arrest record was for. Main thing to remember is if your records get expunged, congratulations, because you don't have to tell anyone. You literally don't have to say anything to anybody about it. It's like it really doesn't exist. You don't have to put it on a job application. You don't have to put it on your college application. You don't have to put it on any type of recruitment forms, housing forms. You're trying to get an apartment. You don't have to do it for any of those things. Unless you're under oath in a criminal proceeding. So if you're asked to testify in a criminal proceeding or you're in front of the judge and they ask you the question, you do. And if they're asking you about that or have you had any past criminal history, then you would have to say it. But you can follow that with, it has been expunged from my record. So then they will go ahead and verify it so that you make sure that it's not, being held against you in a court of law. It is not automatic once you file. A lot of people think that once you go ahead and file it, it's done. Like it's just a matter of time. It's going to be granted. Excuse me. It's not automatic. You have to qualify. You have to, go through the hoops, just like any other criminal case. So don't just file it and sit back and do nothing. Remember, follow up, file, send the petition to the district attorney or the county attorney's office, depending on what county you're in. And then, of course, attend the hearing after you filed everything. And like I said before, if you get confused by any of this, this is not the easiest of things to do, but if you get confused, get an attorney, like this guy. But even if it's not me, just make sure you get an attorney to make sure that they hold your hand through the process, or at least walk you through it so that you're filing the right type of petition and you're able to get what you need done. And as I've stated before as well, the link to the expunction kit will be in the comments of this show. So it is going to have full instructions about the whole process and what you need to do. It's going to take you step by step of exactly what you need and how you qualify. I know you're like, I don't remember all those things you said about which ones qualify for an expunction and which ones don't. Don't worry, it's going to be in there. So just trying to make sure that you have all the tools that you need to get started, and this helps you do just that. So if you have any questions, I promised you some contact information, so I'm going to give that to you now. My email address is contact@goodmanmcgill.com. That's contact@goodmanmcgill.com. Telephone number is 833-529-9748. You can visit me on my website at www.goodmanmcgill.com. And I am on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So feel free to drop into one of those and shoot me a message. And as always, remember, when life gets you down, remember to lawyer up. I'm Steve Okora with the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast, and we will see you next week. Have a good weekend, everybody. see you then. And remember, lawyer up.